Hey everybody, this is Renae Lipsmeyer from The Space Between, and you're listening to The Space Between podcast, the show that lets you listen to how the fans feel about the music, the art behind 31 years of the Dave Matthews Band. Stay tuned.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of The Space Between. I'm Renae, and I am calling this episode the West Palm Recap. So if you are watching this on YouTube, you can see that I have 3 guests with us, but if you are listening to this on a podcast, you are going to hear 3 guests talk about their West Palm Beach experience. I'm going to let each of my guests introduce themselves. Thank you guys so much for being part of this podcast. Who wants to introduce themselves first?
Darrin?
Yeah, I'll go first. Hey, good evening, everybody. I am Darrin Baldwin. I live in Sacramento, California. I am from Kansas originally. I have been a fan since 96, I believe, was my first show. It was an interesting thing. I really didn't know much about Dave Matthews, but I was a percussionist in college, and I had a friend of mine who was also a percussionist who started telling me about this guy, Carter Beauford, that I needed to check out his drumming. And so I did. I listened to some things and I was like totally blown away. And then the Dave part really actually kind of came a little bit later and grew on me, which I know is, my story is probably rare compared to most people because mostly Dave is the allure. So it's kind of interesting. But after getting into it, and then, the love of Dave grew quickly because it's just so unique. His lyrics are very different than really anybody else. I think because of, the South Africa, upbringing and some other things that just makes his kind of phrases and words very different than what you get from most people. And the syncopation of the music and the way he played the guitar, it was all a quick allure. But I could talk about this a long time, so I probably should let somebody else introduce themselves.
Absolutely. Well, Larry, I'm calling you Larry. Darrin, thank you so much. I already know you guys, of course. And so next we're going to let Larry, that's just naturally your cue to go next, right?
Yeah, that's fine. Well, I'm Larry Smith. I'm from Wichita, Kansas, born and bred. And I got in today because my wife made me,
That's a common answer.
Now, but it's the truth. The first few times I listened to it, I didn't really get it, but I enjoyed it. But the more you listen to it, the more you get into it. And then all of a sudden you're in. And once you're in, it's like the Cosa Nostra. Once you're in, they won't let you out.
Yes. It has a firm grip.
Yeah. And so, that's how I get in. We, I know you asked a little bit earlier about traveling and doing all that stuff, and we never really did a bunch of that early on. 3 boys growing up, sports all the time. Not a lot of shows. We do 1 or 2 a year, and that's it. But maybe we tell our other West Palm Beach story tonight, and let you know how we really got dug into this.
Yeah. Yes, I cannot wait to hear. Yeah. And so we have one final guest to introduce, and this is Team Female. We've got 2 girls and 2 boys, so I feel like we're going to get some very, very good opinions today. So, Kelly, I will let you introduce yourself. Thank you so much for being on this episode.
Hi, I'm Kelly. I am Larry's wife who pulled him in. You know what? I heard Dave on the radio in 95, like, what would you say? And I thought, I got to check out this band. And so I bought this CD and just could not stop. And when it was time for Larry and I to get married, we were looking for our wedding dance song. And I'm like, it has to be Love or Lay Down. And Larry was like, I don't know if I can even understand the words. And I'm like, no, that's a song. And it was a song. I don't know if he really got it until we went to our first show in 96.
Yeah, I think it was 96.
And once he heard him live, he was hooked too. So
Absolutely. And after all these years, you guys are all still on the road watching the Dave Matthews Band as it evolves. We're in year 32. And so one of the, I would say, the most famous venues or hottest venues to go to. And I mean that in like every way, shape, and form. West Palm Beach, it's a tradition and almost is always, if I'm correct, the very last show before their break, I guess. And so today we are going to talk about West Palm Beach and what exactly is the attraction to this 2-night venue. So guys, thanks again for being on the show. Today is all things West Palm Beach. And so let's just start as if you've never been before. Tell me, what is the attraction to this venue and what keeps you coming back? Now, I know Darrin, this was your first year.
Yes.
And so I like to hear from a first year perspective of like, will you come back and all of those things? And then you guys, this was not your first time. So what got you to come back for a second go in West Palm Beach?
Well, for us, it had to do with a vacation. Last year we were planning a vacation, right? And we're like, oh, let's have a vacation and let's incorporate some Dave into it and do all that stuff. So we made a plan for Florida, and it was going to be a week long. And so we went down and we had some time in Miami. Then we went up to Jupiter to see some friends there. And then we came down to the show. And this is how our first West Palm Beach experience happened. We pull into the Breakers. We were staying at the Breakers, right? And the valet guy comes up and he opens the door. And he looks at my hat. And he's like, oh, man, you guys here for the show? I'm like, yeah, it's going to be awesome. He's like, oh, you must be really bummed. And I'm like, well, what are you talking about? He's like, you haven't heard? The show's been canceled. I'm like, you're fucking with me, right? There's no way. And he's like, no, it's been canceled. And I kind of stood there. I looked at Kelly and said, well, now what?
Exactly. Well, obviously you guys were not the only one in town for Dave. So what do you do when a show is canceled and everyone is there?
So what happened after that was we go up to the room, we get checked in, and then we just started checking social media. Hey, everybody's in this same boat, what's happening, what's going to be done, and what have you. So all of a sudden people started putting together these plans, and hey, we're going to go down to ER Bradley's. We're going to go and everybody's going to be there and they're going to cry in our beers together and we're going to do whatever. Mm-hmm. And, we went down Friday night and it was great. And they welcomed us in. It was we were at the outside bar and all that stuff was really cool. And that was just still, everybody was in shock, right? But then they set up a Saturday night. And I don't know who did the setup. I can't remember if it was Kelly, Archibald, or whoever else, but they made plans and they called ER Bradley's and they said, okay, here's the deal. We have all these people that are here. We are going to come down and can you get a room for us? And we're going to play Dave all night long. We've got a DJ, play Dave all night long, pack the place and whatever. And so that's what happened. So we all went down there and there were people from all over the country and they were all in the same boat and everybody was trying to figure it out. But the cool thing about it was that if that had not happened, a lot of the people that we hang out with today and a lot of the people that we see today, we never would have met because everybody was looking for something to do and everybody was friendly and everybody was making introductions and we were just, part of that whole thing. And so we met this crazy lady from New Jersey named Suzanne. And Jimmy Walker and Kelly Archibald, just all these different people, right? And
all from Boston.
Yeah, all from Boston. And Joe Towler, and they're just a bunch of different people. And then we got to talking about different venues. And then they were all like, well, you got to come to this venue. You got to come to this venue. You got to come to this venue. You got to do this. This is the best one. This is the best one. And that was when we made the decision, oh, you got to come to Mexico. You got to do this. And we had done none of that. We hadn't been anywhere. We'd been the closest to Kansas ones. we've been to, Bonner Springs. We've been down to Texas a couple times. Been to Denver, and that was about it.
Chicago.
Oh, in Chicago.
Chicago.
Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. And that was it. And then when we went down and did this thing, all of a sudden we got all these people, everybody has their own home venues. And then you make the decision, okay, we're going to start doing that. Next year, we're going to put all the big venues on the books. And so, West Palm Beach for us was a game changer as far as traveling to see Dave and,
Right.
figuring it out. Because since then, it's been, Suzanne, well, you got to come to New York when they come to New York. So we went to New York. Then they're like, oh, you got to go to Mexico because Mexico is the greatest of all time, and we've never been there. Okay, so then we went to Mexico, but also before that, it was, oh, you got to come to the Hollywood Bowl. You got to come down there and do that. So we did that. We met Darrin.
Yay.
Darrin down there, and then Nikki Flynn and all her group, and a bunch of people down there. And so you start meeting these little pockets of people everywhere you go, and then the next thing you know, you got this big old wide circle of Dave people, and it's like family. And then and some of them turn out to be really, really awesome.
Absolutely.
So imagine going to a show and not having Darrin there with me, because all the ones that we go to, he seems to be at. We miss some, but I don't think I've been to a single one this year where Darrin wasn't there.
True.
That's amazing. I mean, it really is. And people say this often, that once you have gone to enough shows, when you go, it's like a family reunion. And so I can see how that would make sense, because people do become, if not family, really good friends, right? And so it's definitely a cool way to live. And so it sounds like year one didn't necessarily work out for you guys music wise, but building relationships wise, it was kind of a blessing in disguise that all that happened, because you still really walked away with a feeling that you can only get from the community that follows the Dave Matthews Band, right?
Yep.
So even though you didn't get the music, you got all of the benefits that come along with the music. So Darrin, let's talk about this year. First experience, what got you interested in going to West Palm Beach in the first place? And then kind of walk us through your experience.
So really, I just kind of told myself this year that I was going to go some places I'd never been. And so there's a few iconic places like Deer Creek. You hear it on Sirius XM. You can just tell it's a different vibe. SPAC, you can just tell it's a different vibe. West Palm, you kind of got that vibe. So I kind of just sat down and made a list at the beginning of the season. I'm a little probably OCD, so I actually made a Google sheet, honestly, of all the shows that I wanted to go to. And started, entering, okay, I've got tickets for this one. I need to find tickets for this one. And I have my little tracker all set up that I used to figure it out. And so anyway, West Palm was on the list. And then as really kind of the story that they were telling last September of 2022, I didn't know about any of these groups. I didn't know any people. I didn't know anything. Through a weird happenstance that I really won't go into here. I just happened to find out about one of these meetups for Fiddler's Green in Denver. I went, and they had a Night Zero meetup, and I went to that for the first one I'd ever been to. And just everybody just basically adopted me instantly, made me feel so welcome. I met Nikki and her group, and Suzanne, and just a bunch of people. And it was an amazing time. And then it just really went from there. And I'm like, well, this is a lot of fun. I think I should see where the next show is. I probably want to go there. Oh, that was great. Now I know more people, so I'm going to just go to the next show. So I say all the time, it really is it's 50% the music and the experience and the atmosphere and everything, but it really is 50% of, I get to spend the weekend with some of the best people on earth, who are some of my best friends, and just people who are going to be in my life forever. So, you kind of really get the best of both worlds now. And I love the shows, but I also really enjoy getting there a day early and doing the Night Zero meetup, and just, seeing people I haven't seen, or meeting, 10 new people. And every show I go to, I find new people that I hadn't run across before that turn out to be amazing. And then they just kind of keep adding to the circle, and our circle just keeps getting bigger and bigger. And, you find that 90% of those people are really, really, really high quality human beings. and I'm very lucky that I've, gotten to be around them. And the couple of people I'm sharing this podcast with are way on my favorites list.
All right.
Larry and Kelly, I couldn't say enough good things. Like, I couldn't say enough good things in the whole world. I could talk forever and it wouldn't be enough good things about how awesome they are. So I'm very lucky to be here. Thank you for having me.
You guys really do have a reputation that precedes you, each of you. And that's, why I ask you guys to be on the show, is because you guys have a contagious spirit about you. A lot of people know of you because you are at so many shows, but also outside of that, I think people really gravitate towards each of you because you're so welcoming and so friendly and so genuine. And those qualities in people are sometimes very tough to find. And so I, just can't say enough good things about you, but I hear it. And when it comes all the way around and, not only do I really love these people, but like other people love them. And so you guys, whatever you're doing, keep doing it because it's working and it's making a difference in all of this. So thank you again so much for just being who you are. And thank you again for kind of telling your side of the story on this show. So I know this is a silly question because of the name of this city, West Palm Beach, like it kind of gives it away that we're going somewhere tropical, we're going somewhere on the beach. But like, what are some of your favorite things and what were some surprises? Because there is time outside of the shows, right? We've got a Friday night show, we've got our Saturday night show, but if people that come in before or after or choose to spend more time in West Palm Beach, what are some things that would draw people to stay in that area? And what are some things that are fun to do outside of maybe the Dave Matthews Band world if you're looking to turn this into a vacation?
I mean, obviously you've got the beach right there. Like, I'm a horrible golfer, but I do enjoy playing golf. There's a lot of opportunities to play golf in the area. Nobody would want to be on the course with me because it's horrible, but I have a lot of fun when I go. But yeah, I think that's one of the things. And like I said, you're right near the beach and you're a couple of hours from Orlando where you've got Disney and, there's, you're probably an hour from Miami, Fort Lauderdale. There's like so many things within proximity. And I mean, the climate is pretty rough if you're not used to it. I live in California and we have hot, we get 110, but it's very dry, like 8% humidity. And, I don't know, 80%, 90%, whatever the humidity was there, it was pretty tough. I definitely lost a few pounds of perspiring over the weekend. Yeah. And I had kind of experienced a little bit of that SPAC because it was a little bit humid. So I kind of prepared. I bought a neck air conditioner and a neck fan and, tried to come prepared, brought some water wicking shirts and, just tried to do some things to make it a little better. And all that helped. But it was, it's pretty warm there. Definitely. If you're not used to the humidity.
So besides the beach, Larry and Kelly, did you find yourself doing anything that was non-beachy, or what were people doing in West Palm Beach?
Well, for us this year, we really were kind of in and out, right? So we got in late on Thursday and then we were out on Sunday. So we spent some time by the pool, which we met some really incredible at the Canopy. Downtown is where we were staying, and we met some really cool people at the pool, made some friends there. And then just that, it was mostly Dave related, tailgating and what have you. Now, last year when we went, we had planned more around it, so we came into Miami, we stayed there for a couple nights, we hit the beach, we hit the nightclubs, we had some good food, and did some of that stuff, and then we make that jaunt from Miami up to Jupiter, which is also pretty close, and so we go up to Jupiter, go out on a boat ride. A couple different friends have some boats. They took us out. We, swung by. We're going to go see Kid Rock's house. We're going to go do this, and we're going to go.
Awesome.
And so we did a bunch of that, and then we came down to get the news that COVID and no show. But there's a lot of stuff to do in the general area. So a lot of it's going to be water related because you are on the ocean, you are there for the beaches and whatever. But it was kind of cool. We went for lunch downtown one day. The West Palm Beach has got a really cool little downtown area that you can walk around and stuff, or the square, I think they call it. So yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So let's talk about the venue. What is the venue like? Is it your traditional lawn, reserved, and pit, or what? Talk us through what someone could expect when they're going to West Palm Beach.
Hello, everybody. This is Dave Rich from the Eddie Casino Band out in Las Vegas. We're really excited to get this journey going, celebrating our music, our original music, on all platforms. We just released our first single over Labor Day weekend called Eddie Casino. If you're looking for new music, look out for our next single coming out to Spotify, YouTube, Instagram, Apple Music. These guys in the band are really excited to get started playing music for you all. If you like Tom Petty, Zach Brown, Jason Mraz, Dave Matthews Band, Rob Thomas, Jimmy Buffett, Pink Floyd, Stapleton, Bare Naked Ladies, Goose, Billy Strings, Sting and the Police, a ton of influences that we bring to the table. Hope you enjoy our music and look forward to seeing you soon live on stage.
Yeah, that's definitely the kind of standard. You had lawn seating, you had the reserve seating, you had the pit. The pit was a fairly small pit comparatively to some of the venues, and it was nice, and probably because of the heat and humidity, they definitely didn't oversell it. So you had a little bit of room to stand. You didn't have people like shove 3 inches from your face. You had like a little personal space. So that was nice. I felt like good that they didn't probably oversell that.
Yes.
And I think it's a pretty decent sized as far as the seats go. I think there were maybe, I don't know, 6 or 9 fairly large sections of seating available. And I'm not really sure. I didn't spend time on the lawn, so I'm not sure how big the lawn was or what the viewpoint was from there. But you could tell there were some big screens and things. So I'm sure people had, plenty of opportunities to see. And I know there were a lot of people who came specifically to go to the lawn. So I'm sure it was probably it's probably a good lawn.
Yeah. So we hear that the lawn's a great experience. We have friends that have sat up there last year and again this year intentionally, saying, hey, we want to be up there because it's cool. They got some palm trees in the back, and if you're down in the reserve seats and you look back there, man, it's awesome. It's a nice lawn as far as the angle and everything. So it's not flat. It's got good grading, so you can see right down in there. We walked up there and said hello to a couple of our friends earlier on night 2, and yeah, I think it's pretty cool up there.
Awesome. So it sounds like you guys, so you were reserved and pit. So give me like your take on pit and reserved. What were your thoughts, and would you want to do the same again? Now, Darrin, I feel like I know your answer already, but go ahead and tell us.
All right. So, I was in the pit. It's, and there's a million ways to enjoy the experience, and there's lots of ways for everybody. My personal best experience is to be close enough that I can really see, and I love watching the nuances of, I can tell like Carter giving a little cue when we're about to end the song, or, Dave will give Buddy a little wink before he's getting ready to do his, solo, or there's just some really cool things where I like to be close enough that I can pick out what guitar Dave has and what bass, Stefan has. So if I can figure out what song it's going to be next, or just all the little things. That's for me the way that I enjoy the experience the most. But I don't think there's a bad way to experience it. Like, I think no matter what you're doing, it's going to be awesome because you're around a bunch of people who feel the same way you feel, and are kind of taking it in the way you're taking it in. They're obviously, every once in a while you get a person who's like a little had a little bit too much of one thing or the other and gets a little obnoxious, but it's pretty rare. I'd say we're probably at most concerts it's 50-50, and at a Dave show it's probably 95% awesome and 5% the outlier groups. But we had one little run in, but it turned out to be no big deal. Took care of it real quick and moved on, and it was a great experience.
Awesome. So were you guys reserved seating both nights, or just
we
one?
were the pit one night and reserve seating the other night, and I would never turn down the pit. The pit was awesome.
No.
And I don't ever remember noticing water in the pit before. But at that show, they had water jugs and even bottled water later in the show. So, I mean, just to
That's
keep people
awesome.
hydrated. And security there, I will just say, was so awesome. When we were in the pit, we watched one of the security guys singing every song, even the deep
Oh man,
tracks,
I love
which just
that.
brought me
I
joy.
love that.
As far as
I love.
reserve seating went, there was no airflow. The view was great, but I would say next year I would take lawn over reserve seating just because of the heat factor. It was
Yeah,
hot.
yeah, no.
And
I cannot imagine.
I was fading towards the end of the show just from the heat.
Yeah, yeah.
We were in section 2, which was center stage, like third row from the pit. So we had a great perspective and everything, but because of where we're at, and there was no breeze at all. I mean, I'm dripping sweat the whole time. And Kelly, like she said, she was starting to really feel it towards the end, you know.
Yeah. Yes, yes. Well, if you guys are anything like me, the amount of standing and sweating and pretty much anything I do at a concert is not my typical lifestyle, right? So when I'm at home, I'm not standing for 6 hours or 8 hours in 100-degree weather. So doing it is hard work, right? Like it's genuinely, hard work. And so I totally understand what you're saying. It's tough. So let's talk about tailgating. Was that something that you guys were a part of? And if so, what did tailgating look like at West Palm Beach?
There were some pretty cool tailgate experiences. We had so my friends had the premier parking. So like a slightly funny story, we had, usually I try to rent a pickup truck because I drive a pickup truck and I'm a big guy and it's just not very comfortable getting in a little car. I get to the rental car place and they're like, "Oh, sorry, sir, we are completely out of pickups." And I'm like, "Well, what do you got that's going to hold somebody my size?" And they're like, "Well, the only thing we can get you is we can get you in this minivan." So I get this minivan, and I swear to God, I'm driving it like Vin Diesel in the pacifier, like hauling ass around everywhere. And so the friends that rode with us, like it became quite the little funny story about joking about the minivan tailgate party. But we had a good time. We ended up parked right next to some really cool people that we hadn't met before, and they had their pop-up tents and. Very smartly, they had a small kiddie pool that they filled with water and ice, so that you could kind of take off your shoes and soak your feet before you went in. It's like really the best way to cool your body down is if you can keep your feet cool. It helps the rest of your body. So they not only were they very hospitable, but they were very intelligent in how they went about going about preparing for the show. And so I had a great time. And then after the show, our friends Dave and Shelley had an RV set up and it was really nice, and they grilled and just did a fantastic job of hosting. There was probably, I don't know, Larry, you think there was probably 30 to 40 people?
Yeah.
The last time when we went over to Dave's.
Yeah, after night 2, yeah.
Wow.
Yes. So yeah, the tailgating was really off the hook. Excellent experience. Again, just quality people like everywhere you turned around.
Absolutely. I think that tailgating at a Dave Matthews Band concert is one of the highlights again, right? And there are a lot of venues where tailgating is not such a heavy thing. And then there are venues like West Palm Beach where that is to be expected and it's a big deal and it's part of the experience. So Kelly and Larry, how did you feel about tailgating this year? Because I would imagine last year you guys didn't do any tailgating since there wasn't a show. So this was kind of your first year to get to do it, correct?
No, because we came back for the real show last year when it was rescheduled.
Ah, gotcha.
Yes.
Okay. Awesome.
So what we did though to find out is they have the RV area there, which is pretty cool. Like Dave and Shelley, they came and they set up and they had everything over there, and we went over and found them before both shows. So and then after night two, we actually parked over there by them. So then when we got out of the concert, we could just go over there and everybody just hung out afterwards for a while the lots cleared, and we had a chance to enjoy ourselves with them and all that as well. But Doug Schwab, who owns Maverick Productions or whatever, he puts on a huge tailgate every year. And so last year we were invited over there for the first time, and we hung out, and there's 50, 80, 100 people over there. This three big tents, and he does food and drinks and everything for everybody. And he just puts on a really, really good tailgate. So we were looking forward to getting over there and spending some time with him. And so we kind of bounced around on both nights. We hit up the Dave and Shelley's. We hit up Doug's place for a little bit. We walked around the parking lot because we like to just go meet people too, right? So
absolutely,
we would just, especially night two, we just, picked up and hey, we're just going to go walk the aisles and meet people and say, hey, and hello. And that was a lot of fun. But man, Doug Schwab does a first class tailgate out there, man. And it's a lot of fun.
Well, hopefully next year I will get to be a part of that. I definitely wanted to be a part of West Palm Beach this year, but it historically has always fallen on my husband's birthday. So, as priorities go, he's definitely above the Dave Matthews Band. So we stayed home and we celebrated, but we did listen to Friday night as it was on XM radio. So we weren't completely absent. So let's move into the set list for the weekend. And we're just going to briefly talk about some highlights that were on the set list for the weekend. So on Friday night, Darrin, I'm going to have you talk through Friday, and then Larry and Kelly, if you want to step us through Saturday, then let's just talk about the highlights of the weekend, starting with Friday night.
So as far as the shows go, Friday night was awesome, but Saturday night was just like one of my top 5 shows ever. The set list Saturday just was incredible. But we'll start with Friday. We started off with the So Much to Say, Anyone See the Bridge into Too Much, which was great. They've done a few fakes on that, so I kept thinking, okay, is it going to be a fake, or are they really going to go to it? They did. It was good. We got Busted Stuff 7, which I love. That was a great one. We did get that one. Got American Baby Intro, Break Free, Rapunzel. So Damn Lucky was amazing because there was a lot of the crowd singing was really good and very loud, and Carter kind of kept it going on and on and on, keeping people singing a little longer than normal. And he really just enjoys when everybody's singing good, and he's conducting like he's conducting the orchestra. So that was pretty fun. We did get a 2-step before the closer, and then we got Baby Blue in the encore, which was amazing. And then we ended with Jimmy in a Brick House. But that was a good set list. The band was playing really well. They were very tight Friday. Everything was technically super sound. I mean, they're always really good, but you could tell that it was even up a notch on Friday, and then Saturday was even just 10 notches above that. But yeah, so Friday was a great night.
Yeah, it was
Friday.
It was pretty cool. I did notice that I got a set list on Friday night after an American Baby Intro was not on it.
Yeah,
the original.
I just noticed that.
It was not on the original one, but they ended up doing it. Now, I want to tell everybody, you can thank me for manifesting American Baby Intro back in the set list, because I've been begging for that thing. I've been begging for that. And when they played it at SPAC, I about fell over. You can ask Kelly what my reaction was. I think I might have broke into tears. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe it's back.
You're not alone. I think there were a whole bunch of other people that felt the same way. So
there was a lot of disbelief and a lot of surprise.
Yeah.
So before we go into night 2, I'm just going to take a quick break, because from time to time I like to highlight fans that have a small business. And so Star Wilson is one of my besties in the Dave Matthews Band world. And so she does a lot of creative things. And so we're going to let a commercial roll right here, and we'll be back for night 2 in just a second.
What's up, everybody? This is David with the Dave Matthews Tribute Band. We're a nationally touring tribute to DMB, playing shows all over the country and beyond. Our goal is to bring you back to the classic sound that you fell in love with in the 90s and the 2000s, featuring a violin, saxophone, and maybe some keyboards sprinkled in as well. You can find out information about all of our tours and shows by visiting thedmtb.com. You can also check us out on Facebook and Instagram and other socials by searching the Dave Matthews Tribute Band or the DMTB. Hope to see you on the road and enjoy the Space Between podcast.
Hi, my name's Star. I'm the owner of SW Design Concepts. I have a small business located right outside of Springfield, Illinois. We offer several custom items for everyone on your shopping list, from timeless to trendy, classy to sassy, whatever your shopping needs are. If it's one person or if you want to order in bulk for your business, we have you covered. Our insulated drinkware is our #1 seller. So if you have any questions at all, feel free to reach out to me directly or stop by our website at swdesignconcepts.com. We have a little something for everyone.
All right, guys, thanks for checking that out. Be sure to find Star on all of the social medias and give her some Dave Matthews Band fan love. So we're back talking about West Palm Beach. So Larry and Kelly, take it away. Tell us about night 2 and what were some show surprises for that second night.
Well, I'm always down for the Stone, and so when we get a Stone opener, that's like, yes. And then, I know, Granny is one of Kelly's favorites. And so we get Stone and Granny coming in, pretty close proximity, but in the same deal. I mean, I was like, okay, Drunken Soldier. I'm like, whatever we get. And then they've got Raven. And I was like, oh, well,
Yes.
whatever happens next is whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
But
Raven was definitely a tour. It was one of the tour debuts. So they had not sang it in 2023. What else am I missing besides, and we haven't quite finished night 2, but was there anything in night 1 that was a tour debut?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I think the two here. No, I think it was played previously once. I think. I could be wrong.
So we got Raven, and of course that was a tour debut. Always one of those deep tracks that we like to hear. And so step us through what happened after Raven, and then how did they decide to end this particular concert in West Palm Beach?
Well, I mean, you want to talk about the only thing that's one of the new songs that I think everybody, at least I'm enjoying it, so
Oh yeah.
I really like it.
and then we got the Late in the Evening, which is really cool cover, and it's just kind of vibey and jammy, and yeah, I love it.
And Dave coughing on his J always makes me laugh.
Yeah. And then, I think that the finish was unbelievable. When you get Christmas in July, I think Darrin was saying, like, when him and Carter walked out together, everybody's like, what in the world are they going to play? Because, you just don't get that combo coming out,
Right.
For solo. So we got that, and it was unbelievable. And then that crushed in was,
Christmas Song was another debut. So you got 2 tour debuts in night 2. And so both of those songs I know, again, are just deep track favorites. And so to get Christmas Song in July at West Palm Beach, as you're all standing there just dripped in sweat, did it feel a little bit weird, or did it just feel right?
It just felt right.
It felt perfect.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
There was no doubt about it. And like Larry said, when Carter and Dave walked out, like, the only thing that could go through my mind was, like, they might be able to do like a Gravedigger that way. And so then when I heard the first note of Christmas Song, I was like about fell on the ground. I was so excited. So you don't get that one too often. So whenever you get it, it's pretty amazing. And then for me, like Larry was saying, like, after the first 6 songs, I was like, it doesn't matter what they do from here, because we'd already got the Stone, Fish Tender, Drunken Soldier and Granny out of the first 6 songs. So I'm like, it doesn't even matter from here. And then they just kept it going from there. Drunken Soldier is probably, it's not my favorite of all the songs, but lyrically, like the words to that song are they're my favorite words to a song. Like if you could aspire to be something as a human being, like if you just listened to the words to that song and tried to be that, you would have it figured out. So like that, every time that song is played, like it almost makes me cry. Like it is just like it's very meaningful to me. It's an impactful song to me.
It is, and
we don't know
it's
how long
really
we're here.
good to see.
Yeah, we don't know how long we're here. Like, take your shot. You don't know. Nobody. You're never gonna know. Stop trying to be something you're not. Like all those things. Be kind always, no matter. Like it's just an amazing song.
Shine your light.
Yeah.
Well,
shine your light while you got one. Yeah, exactly.
That's right. That's right. Well, I'm so excited to see so many of these, what we call deep tracks, coming back into rotation. And I like to think it's because the boys, are just professionals at knowing when to pull stuff out and the perfect timing for it. So I don't believe that all of this has happened just spontaneously, although I could be completely wrong. And like I always say in these podcasts, none of this information has been verified. It's all hearsay. But if you have a way to connect us directly to the Dave Matthews Band, hook a sister up and I'll verify all this shit for you guys, okay? I'm looking for a way in. So, guys, thank you so much for helping me just, have more content and really kind of drive the people that are listening to this podcast or that are watching on YouTube to really, we want to be a resource for people that are looking to see the Dave Matthews Band, because I think we have several more years ahead. I don't think the boys are done yet. And I think as we continue to talk about the contagious spirit of the people around the Dave Matthews Band, I just feel like we will continue to see new listeners at all of the shows. And we are kind of the guides, if you want to say that, right? Because we've been in the trenches, we kind of know, and we all love to teach the word of Dave, right? Or whatever. And so I'm so excited about the future, and I'm so excited knowing that our future together, because we're all going to be hitting these shows together. So it's fun to pick up friends. I think as I've been doing this, adults always complain that it's hard to meet people, because it is, right? We're all so busy with work and life and kids and sports and just all the things that life has for us. And so when we take a minute and we pause and we do this simple little thing like going to a concert, it can make such a big difference in all the other shit in your life, because making yourself happy for a second really can change like your whole life. So guys, I want to say congratulations on taking time out and making yourself happy and investing in yourself, because if you don't invest in yourself, you can't invest in other people. So congratulations on remembering to take care of you. Any closing words on West Palm Beach, and what is next for you guys? What's next in the Dave Matthews Band world?
The gorge, baby.
We'll see you there.
Yeah. Now, Darrin, I know that you're hitting some California shows. That's your home state. So what is the next show for you?
So I'm going to do the casino show and then Irvine, and then I'll do Bend and close out with the Gorge. So I'm going to have a nice last couple of weeks of the tour. So I'm very excited about that.
Amazing. That's amazing.
Can't get here soon enough, although I am ready for like a week of break to kind of rest and get my body back in shape. And this is by no means a complaint, because I am like beyond lucky, but as you get a little older, like the shows and the hot weekends do take a little toll, and it takes a little bit longer to recover. And I've been hydrating consistently for the last 3 days since getting out of there, trying to replenish everything that was perspired out, but not a complaint in the world. I would do it again a million times over. So
that's right. I mean, people do this for football, right? They cheer on their favorite teams. So we can't feel weird that we do this for musicians, because they need love and support too, right? And so that's what we're doing for the Dave Matthews Band. So guys, I'm so excited to get to experience the Gorge, not only for the first time this year, but with all of you, right? It sounds like we're all going to be in the same campground, and so there's some exciting things that are going to happen ahead. And be sure to stay tuned to the Space Between, because we're going to have like a million videos from the Gorge. That's just going to happen. But we want to step you through, if you've never been to the Gorge, if that's never been on your radar, definitely stay tuned, because that's what we're going to do. We're going to help step you through what the pilgrimage to the gorge is all about, because it is a big deal to go, for most of us, halfway across the country to a land where there's not even a Walmart within 30 minutes, which is kind of a scary deal for us to live in the city, right? Like, what do I do if there's no Walmart? Oh my God, I'm from Arkansas. I'm like, they're everywhere. So what will this trip look like? What does it take to plan? What are the expenses involved? And so be sure to stay involved. The Gorge is our next project. And of course, all of my guests that are currently on this podcast will definitely be there and definitely be involved in the podcasts that come out in the future. So guys, thank you so much for being part of this show. And as we always say, peace, love, and Dave Matthews Band. Be sure to catch us next week. And if you are on social media, be sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and all the things out there. Thanks, guys.